Hello and welcome to our Thursday reflection. It's rather a long reading, so I hope you're sitting comfortably. It's taken from the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 8, and beginning to read at the 26th verse. They sailed to the region of the Gerasenes, which is across the lake from Galilee. When Jesus stepped ashore, he was met by a demon-possessed man from the town. For a long time, this man had not worn clothes or lived in a house, but had lived amongst the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell at his feet, shouting at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had commanded the impure spirit to come out of the man. Many times it had seized him, and though he was chained hand and foot and kept under guard, he had broken his chains and had been driven by the demon into solitary places. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "Legion," he replied, because many demons had gone into him, and they begged Jesus repeatedly not to order them to go into the abyss. A large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus to let them go into the pigs, and he gave them permission. When the demons came out of the man, they went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. When those tending the pigs saw what had happened, they ran off and reported in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people how the demon-possessed man had been cured. And all the people of the region asked Jesus to leave them because they were overcome with fear. So he got into the boat and left. The man from whom the demons had gone out begged to go with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return home and tell how much God has done for you." So the man went away and told all over the town how much Jesus had done for him. And as always, we thank God for his word. The area of the Gerasenes was Gentile territory, hence the presence of the pigs. But there were also Jewish settlements over this area. We're not told if this man was a Jew or a Gentile, and we're not told because it isn't important. Jesus simply saw a man in need, someone not to be feared, not to be avoided, but to be helped and loved. The man himself is not looking for help. On the contrary, the demonic side of his nature tries to send Jesus away. When that doesn't work, he tries to compromise with him, as the demons plead, "Oh, don't drive us into the abyss. Send us instead into that herd of pigs." Clever. But if the man believed that the demons were only as close as a herd of swine, then the change need not be permanent. After all, change in itself is something that we all often fear. And I wonder, do we sometimes try to compromise with God? Do we say, "Well, if you do this, then I'll do that"? Doesn't work. Doesn't work for us, and didn't work for that man. Jesus knows that the only way to convince him that the cure is permanent is for him to witness the destruction of those pigs. And doesn't that present a problem for a modern congregation? And not just for us. The local people then felt exactly the same, though not perhaps for the same reasons. The man's healing was certainly not worth the loss of their pigs. An interesting point throughout the Gospels was the way that Jesus relates to his followers or those who wish to follow him. To the earliest disciples, he says, "Come, come, follow me." To the rich young man, he says, "Go and sell everything, and then come." At the end of his earthly ministry, he says, "Go, go and make disciples of all nations." But to this man who wants to go with Jesus, he says, "Stay, stay here." Sometimes it seems to me that Jesus asks us to take the most difficult way. He tells this man, still fragile and probably afraid, to return home and tell how much God has done for you. But did you notice? Jesus says, "Tell how much God has done for you." But Luke tells us that the man told people all over the town how much Jesus had done for him. He is one of the first to equate what Jesus does with what God does. He overcomes his fear. But we're told that the people of the region asked Jesus to leave them because they are afraid. They fear his power, the demands he may make on them, the changes they might have to make if he stays too close for comfort. So do our fears bring us to Jesus? Or does our fear seek to drive him away? Does our fear of those who are different create divisions in our community? Or does the knowledge that we are all equal in God's sight draw us together? In the build-up to this Jubilee weekend, several documentaries have reminded us that Elizabeth never expected to be queen, just as her father did not expect to be king. But when the time came, they both took the most difficult path. And the Queen has on many occasions spoken of the faith which has strengthened and sustained her throughout the last 70 years. Perhaps she has remembered the words written by a lady called Minnie Louise Hoskins and quoted by her father, New Year, 1940. "I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, 'Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown.' And he replied, 'Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than a light and safer than a known way.'" And it goes on with some lines which are not so often quoted. "So I went forth, and finding the hand of God, trod gladly into the night, and he led me towards the hill and the breaking of the day." So I pray that whatever difficulties we may face, whatever we may fear, we will know that God strengthens us to answer his call and to trust in him for the future, no matter what that may hold. Amen.